right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is a game called, I think this is pronounced Laraan, like
That was
Lar.
my guess.
Yeah, I mean it could be Laraan. It's a made-up word that we don't know the pronunciation of. So,
Uh-huh.
um, you know, if the publisher wishes to chime in and give us the correct pronunciation, you know, I suppose we can mention it on the Wednesday show. But until then, so Lauren is I guess the best description is a cinematic platformer. Um, like it touts itself as kind of an old school adventure cinematic platformer thing. Like I don't know how true that could be. There are definitely elements here that do feel like it was right out of the mid '90s. Um,
Uh-huh.
but like the art style here is very much a conscious choice. Like if you saw something like this in the mid '90s, honestly, I think it would have been derided for its graphics, like specifically the main
I mean,
character.
the minimalistic, polygonal, low detail, but very intentional color choices. I mean, it's not bad, but yeah, there was definitely a period where they would have said, "Why couldn't you make his head look round?"
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's also you're not getting around modern fidelity um, in a lot of cases. Like this game was made in the Unity engine, and I think that defaults to maybe like 720p
Hmm.
at the lowest. So it's actually kind of hard to make place, a PlayStation One game that looks like a PlayStation One game. Although this is definitely something that I would have bought on the PC, and
Uh-huh.
might have gotten a shit port to the PlayStation. Um, and, and we got the Nintendo Switch version, so over to the Galax for the body of the review.
So yeah, all the text you get in this game is the title screen and then the intro scroll, which honestly I did not catch all of when I played it, and I tried to get as much as I could the second time when Pettyfan just played it. But I'm pretty sure you're playing as a guy named Zoa, which is apparently legally distinct from Noah because there was something about like God might wipe out the world and you need to do something to have that not happen. I don't know. Anyway, you need to grab a number that I believe is 8 of the glowy ball things, of which there is approximately one per level in this game. Um, the challenge in the game is it's platforming and moving. There may be some kind of combat segment later, but I did not get to any really. Though I only got to the area after the fifth light
I
ball thingy. Also, if
don't
there
think,
are only 8, the game is super short.
yeah, I don't think there's any combat because, well, there's no combat option.
Yeah, if there is, your only control inputs, unless they give you more at the time, are roll and duck and jump and run, because those are the only verbs you have aside from walk.
Yeah, and
Um, hmm?
so Petty Fan here is demonstrating perhaps the biggest problem with the game: the jumping.
The jumping is this gravity is super low on this planet, which is cool for a platformer, but also your character model jumps as if he's being yanked upwards by an invisible like toilet plunger on his head.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is not a jumping animation. I'm sorry. Like this is more.
Also, check and see if you can walk right through those stones or not. The ones that are closer to the ground. Oh yeah, if
Nope.
you hold the jump button, you will bounce. Okay, so they're solid here. Um,
Um.
so yeah, there's not a whole ton of story here. Just you run and get one ball, and then get sucked up into a spaceship and talk to an eye that presumably says, "Get me more balls." Um, and everything is a visual set piece, which is fine, except that the controls aren't good. The camera control is sluggish, and the walking controls are a little bit unresponsive. The jump is extremely floaty.
I think
and
the worst thing is
godforsaken
velocity.
reason, using a keyboard, when you're using a controller to play, jump is on the left shoulder buttons, run is on the right shoulder buttons, roll is on the left face button, and crouch is on the bottom or right face button.
Mhm.
And none of the other buttons do anything except for move and camera. And I think the game would have been significantly improved by putting jump on the left face button, or jump and run on the left and right face buttons where they belong, or the left and bottom face buttons where they fucking belong, and crouch and roll can be on the shoulders or something.
Yeah.
Never mind when you have to use other verbs, like in the speeder bike race, where actually you're still using pretty much the same verbs. They're just respond worse.
Yeah, and Betty's about to hit the
No.
speeder. That's a definite understanding of this. Yeah, this.
So speeder bike race. Then later on, there's like a gauntlet through some kind of temple thingy with friggin' guillotine walls and spikes.
Uh-huh.
Also note that there are tons of checkpoints in the just walking forward to get to the next things. But in the actual challenging things, like the Temple of Guillotines and Spikes and the speeder bike race, there are no checkpoints. You must complete them all in one run. So This is where I was talking about the fact that all those rocks that are colorful on the road after the first jump, when I was playing, they have no collision. So you just have to worry about the stone rings and the fact that there's a road that may or may not be under you because the camera's not great.
Not great is the fucking understatement of a lifetime, my dude.
And before that first jump, I was like, this doesn't seem too bad. And
No.
You have to be running for.
Yeah, no. The speeder segment is just flat out awful.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, the aesthetics of the speeder are not good with the rest of the game's aesthetics.
Like this is just poorly put together.
It looks like it was pulled from some other even worse game.
It might have been.
So yeah, admittedly, there may be more to this game, but I gave it as much as I could tolerate, frankly.
Sounds about you had the same amount of tolerance as I did. Because I got up to the temple area, and I'm just like, okay.
I got to the temple, and then there was another get to the next actual interesting feature. Oh, and you can trip on shadows when you're walking sometimes. And sometimes, like literally, I tripped on because when you get to an edge or something, your character like stumbles instead of going over the edge. But I got that animation when I was like walking through the shadow of a wall. Mm-hmm. And also like the hit detection on the some of the obstacles in the speeder bike thing, and also on the guillotines in the guillotine friggin' temple, you have to turn left there.
It won't let the camera turn.
Just turn your body and the camera will sort of eventually follow it.
If it doesn't go over the edge first.
Yeah. Yes, this is a sequence that was programmed in the video game.
Petty Fan has been repeatedly crashing on parts of the obstacles that are not actually there.
Mm-hmm. Like
crashing on a couple of feet from the inside edge of the hole in the rock.
Like, I'll be honest, this isn't a particularly long segment, but I do think that this segment is bad
enough. A long fucking time playing it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's bad enough
the time I spent playing the game was on this segment, and if it hadn't taken me so long, I might have had more like patience left to figure out what the fuck came after the guillotine temple.
Yeah. It's just, it's not particularly long. It's just, it's shit.
Yeah, and again, I had been experimenting and looking around because it was an interesting area, and I fell off the edge several times in the part before this, and I always respawned like fairly soon after. And when you respawn, it's always on a small, like 3 foot by 3 foot, compared to your character being a normal human size, trans or semi-transparent floating platform. And when you are in an actual challenge area, there don't seem to ever be any of those. So yeah, honestly, the aesthetic of the game, I can kind of dig it, but the controls are just. And sometimes the aesthetic even gets in the way. Like, again, in the speeder bit race, sometimes you can't tell that there's no floor coming up because the only difference is that there's a different color gradient. So what happened there, Pity Fan, is that you jumped too early and the ceiling is too low there. So you died by hitting your head on, like, the air 2 feet from the ceiling. Very close to that segment.
This constitutes as torture, you know that, right?
We know. We went through the same thing. Like,
so yeah, I mean, I don't want to take the piss out of it because at least they had like some kind of artistic vision, but all of the controls need a once, twice, thrice, and 4 or 5 times over to make it like not painful to play.
Yeah, so this is going to be a weird statement at first, but I think that this game really did succeed in its goals to make a, mid-90s computer game kind of thing.
You mean insofar as the platforming is terrible?
Yes. Like, yeah. Like, no, this is exactly the kind of hot mess I would have seen on the PC in 1995.
Yeah. That's another note. Of all of the other things with the controls, this is fully compatible with you not having any method of analog input. You can control this fully with a WASD or a D-pad. Yeah, I'm not saying it would be a good idea to do that.
Yeah, I would actually advise against that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that really does lend cadence to the whole. Yeah, this was this might have been a thing you played in the mid-90s because that's when not just 3D was new, but analog controls were not even a thing until the Nintendo 64 came along.
Yeah, even if you had a joystick, it was a pretty much digital joystick.
Yeah, it's like once again, like if this were a game that got crafted in the mid-90s and got the PlayStation port,
just go forward here. If you go left or right, you'll forget where the entrance was and have a hard time finding it.
Guess what I did?
He forgot the entrance.
Because it's a fairly small thing, and everything is the goddamn sandstone color. So if you go to the left, it just blends into the wall. Also, this is the area where I was tripping on a shadow.
What the fuck is this game? You all are fucking monsters.
And it's kind of funny that the fastest way to move actually involves holding the run and jump button, so you just are bouncing constantly.
Yeah, like you're in a one of those moon jump things.
I can't crouch.
Yes, you can. There is a crouch button.
Which one is it?
I think it's right or left click.
Are you using a keyboard and mouse?
Keyboard, yeah.
I have no idea. I use the controller.
Oh, it's mouse click.
I told you they put it in a stupid place.
What in the actual fuck?
Oh.
That's backwards.
The mouse also controls the camera, I think.
Yeah, it does a terrible job of it, at least in windowed mode. Oh god.
The control stick did a terrible job of controlling the camera too.
Yeah, it's not much better with a controller. Oh, hell.
So yeah, I don't want to take the piss out of this game too much.
Yeah.
They kind of achieved their goal in making a actually retro feeling platformer. And the aesthetic is actually decent. It's just that the thing that they exceeded in creating is not something that anyone would actually, I don't think, want to play if they remembered it accurately.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing we tolerated in the mid '90s because we were still experimenting with shit. We're still trying to figure that out. This is a game from 2020. Well, the Switch version at least. I think the Steam version, is from 2017. My point is, this game is from a time where we have figured out 3D controls pretty good.
Yeah, pretty gooder and whatnot.
And I think if you programmed good controls into this game, it would be an interesting experience at least.
Yes. Yeah.
As it is, it's kind of mostly an exercise in frustration, honestly.
I'm gonna need therapy after this.
Oh, this game is probably ending up on the worst list.
Yeah?
Oh, anyway.
Man, I succeeded in getting through this section by going with the guillotines every time. I don't know if that's the only way. See, that you made the mistake. Your head was crushed by the air 5 feet after the guillotine.
Yeah.
And then I was hit by it going up. Nope, we're done. We're done.
I didn't say you wouldn't die to the guillotines a lot. I just said I went because you frequently in that area have a choice between Spike Road and Guillotine Road, and knowing the game's hit detection, I didn't want to have any fucking thing to do with the spikes. So I just said, you know what? I'll risk it and at least get my head crushed by large linear sections of air adjacent to objects.
All right,
instead
so
of, spikes.
So if we could do pricing, we can wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the game clocks in at $4.99. It's on the PC and Nintendo Switch. The PC version is $5. The Nintendo version, the Nintendo Switch version is $6. $6 even, which is unusual.
But if you add that extra set, people won't think it only costs $5.
I guess. I'm like, but it's also got a soundtrack purchase for $3. Honestly, the music was there-ish. Oh, it looks like this game does have combat situations later. Seeing a screenshot on Steam.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what verbs they give you for that.
Who knows? Who cares? None of us. The game is painful enough.
That's where I got the idea from, is that I saw that there was some mention of there being combat situations. I was like, okay, but what do you do? And again, I could not tolerate playing the game any further to get to that part.
Yeah, we all kind of broke at the same fucking place.
I think it's the fact that it's not even that the temple and the stuff after it is that bad. It's just that the fucking speeder bike race completely saps your will to live, and after that, you're running on fumes.
So, honestly, doesn't really matter the price here. This game is not good. I'm like, it's all right. It's
find a video online of a computer playing the game and watch that.
You're probably gonna have a better experience. I think that's about it for Laraan here. Coming up after the break, Twilight will be regaling us with The Ambassador, Fractured Timelines, which is another twin-stick shooter. Pretty different from Rogue Robots in a lot of ways. I don't know the ways personally because, I handed off the code to Twilight. So, we'll hear about that after we come back.
Mm-hmm.